Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Canucks and Knights tonight, Rogers Arena. Seahawks and Cowboys in the NFL. What a night. Today's guests, including John Shannon, standing by. Brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Tomorrow, Giants take on Kelowna. LEC, puck drop, 7. Also, the annual Teddy Bear Toss game, Saturday, December 9th. Tickets are selling quickly, so get yours now. Visit vancouvergiants.com/tickets. I didn't know this. I stand corrected. This is from G in Richmond. Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. I was criticizing Gordon Ramsay for ripping off Restaurant Impossible, but G in Richmond informing me, and he's not the only one. Kitchen Nightmares was a show he had in the UK many years ago. It was actually uncensored. If anything, all the U.S. shows ripped off the original Kitchen Nightmares. Yeah, much like with sitcoms, too. Remember, Man About the House was the original Three's Company.
Three's Company, great show.
Man, I'm old. As we bring in NHL, no segue there, as we bring in NHL analyst, co-host of the Bob McCowan podcast, John Shannon. John, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
How could you forget The Office? The Office was Ricky Gervais. Come on now.
Yeah,
and then Steve Carell takes credit for it. By the way, so I went to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in London, one of them.
Yep.
I took my wife and daughter for lunch at his restaurant at Claridge's Hotel. Lunch.
Right.
Lunch. 700 pounds.
What?
Yeah. No, and no booze.
Jeez.
And no booze? So 700 pounds in Canadian dollars is a lot. Right?
$1,100. When the Amex came, it was $1,100 Canadian dollars.
No way.
Yes.
Good Lord.
I know.
Was there gold in your meals?
To come home.
Don't say that. Hey, you are.
For all, it's not true. She came home.
Okay. All right. John, you're Mr. Television. NHL ratings are up significantly in the U.S. on USPN and TNT. How come?
Better matchups for one thing. I think that's something that year two they have been able to fix from the first year that the groups were together. First 2 years, the groups were together. I also think that what's really happening is that people are migrating to ESPN Plus. That's a big help. But overall, I also think that the product is pretty darn good. And I think that both ESPN and TNT have done a good job in marketing it, in branding it. You see a lot more cross-promotion on other sports on both TNT with their basketball package and ESPN. You know, I think we talked about this once before. When we see Jack Eichel carrying the Stanley Cup and being, on the sidelines of an NFL Monday Night Football game, that's a real positive for that cross-promotion for the NHL.
What do you think of the TNT panel? I think they do a great job of having fun.
Oh, no doubt. And let's face it, I think a lot of it is squarely on the lap of what Paul Bissonnette brings. Mm-hmm. He's learned to control, I think, his sometimes outlandish style that we see on Spit and Chicklets. Mm-hmm. He's networkized it, if you want to put a word out there. But he's the catalyst. It still may be a stretch to call him what Charles Barkley is on the basketball panel, but Paul Bissonnette is a personality. He's a character, and people like him. And I think that you have to endorse that in order to make sure that what they do on the panel works, and he makes it work.
John, the Corey Perry situation, before we get into what you think it was, the rumors on Twitter that affected a family here in Vancouver, pretty disgusting. But it looks like that's the way Twitter works. If you throw out a rumor, everyone just believes it. But it was pretty bad how that rumor took off.
I watched Kyle Davidson, his press conference the other day. He was obviously upset about having to speak and the topic. But I think he should have said he apologized to the Bedard family.
Yes.
I think he should have used those words. I am sorry to Mr. and Mrs. Bedard and to Connor. Because it was so blatantly obvious what he was trying to say, but didn't say it.
didn't say.
Now, I'll tell you what. You guys are a little older than 35, as am I. That's a tough spot to put a 35-year-old general manager in, who was really hired to rebuild the franchise on the ice. He is not an HR expert. He is not a lawyer. He's not speaking from the performance of what the organization should have done. I think he was put in a very difficult spot. But that said, and I mean, I don't mind saying it, I am so sorry for what the Bedards had to go through the last 96 hours.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but that's the way Twitter works. John, the Canucks, first place on the line in the Pacific Division tonight, Vegas. You come on here every week, and they still every week are hanging with the big boys atop the NHL standings. Are you like some people waiting for them to drop, or are you thinking they can hang there all year?
I see no reason why they can't hang. I mean, the way they're playing the game. I mean, and their goaltending is as good as any in the National Hockey League. Their offensive play is as good as any in the National Hockey League. We've always wondered, could they play positively defensively? And they are continuing to do that. And the way they're doing that is they're keeping it simple in their own zone. They are physical enough when they have to be. And they are moving the puck in transition as well as anybody in the NHL. I don't see them faltering on a major basis. I really don't. I think that the construct of this team now is where it should be. The coaching staff, and that's not just Rick. That's Adam Foote and Mike Yeo as well, have done a marvelous job at simplifying the game, and then rewarding those people that understand how the coaches want them to play the game. So from that perspective, I see no reason why they fault. I really don't. I mean, I think they are in that upper echelon of the National Hockey League right now. And I mean, are they the New York Rangers? No, they're not. But that if you put them in the top 8, I wouldn't be surprised.
And quickly, John, I love watching the Oilers broadcast, the local broadcast. You're part of that. They do a great job, entertaining, a lot of fun, no matter how the team is playing, which is well lately. They've won 3 straight. Connor McDavid has 15 points in 5 games. What are you seeing covering that team closely?
I'm seeing a team that is finally relaxed again. I'm also seeing the influence of Paul Coffey on the blue line. No better example of that than the way that Darnell Nurse has really played, particularly in these last 3 games. There's still work to be done, but they're early in the season. This was a team in the grips of paralysis. I mean, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to do it. And the moment you thought too much, it was too late. Now they're just back playing on instinct. They are playing a much simpler game in their own zone. They still have some issues, but they are playing a much more confident style of game. And dare I say, they're doing this. You're right. Connor has been spectacular. I don't think Leon Draisaitl, even though he's got pretty good point totals, I don't think Leon Draisaitl is anywhere near where he should be. And if Draisaitl can get out of doing what he's not doing as well as he did last year, then this team could go on a real run. They have a huge homestand next week, and I think a lot of people thought, well, if they're 500 by the 41 game mark, things will be okay. They might be 500 by Christmas now, if they can keep turning this thing around.
Yeah, 5 points out of a playoff spot as we speak. This just in, you made enough money during this hit with us that you might be able to afford another lunch at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant.
No, $1,100. So if anybody's going to London, don't go to the Ramsay. But Jamie Oliver, Jamie Oliver has great restaurants in London too. The next night we went to a Jamie Oliver restaurant. We felt we drank more wine. We felt we had better food, and it only cost £100.
Wow, there you go. All right. I'll write that down. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
No, now I'm hungry.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.